when it comes to television in 2026, things are actually off to a very strong start. Night of the Seven Kingdoms was very good, the One Piece Netflix series was also excellent, the new Star Wars Maul Lord TV show was off to a very good start, and Invincible is still kicking ass as usual. So with all that solid superhero and fantasy content dropping, I went into Daredevil Born Again Season 2 with real optimism. I was hoping this was finally going to be the one that delivered the return of the real Devil of Hell's Kitchen. The street level brutal, no capes, no MCU quips. So I sat down, lights off, ready for that old Netflix magic, and for a minute it actually felt like it was there. Then I came to the same realization for about the millionth time.
Oh, fuck it.
My fellow heretics, there is a real difference between a movie or a TV show that has some ugly politics baked into it, but still delivers a damn good, well-crafted product, excellent storytelling, excellent characters, tight direction, and the kind of garbage that completely ruins itself by shoving those politics down your throat and politicizing every single thing that happens on screen. Take shows like Arcane, for example. Gorgeous animation, god-tier writing, characters you actually care about, or the movie Sinners, that went hard and still respected the audience, and I'll even throw The Last of Us Season 1 specifically. Yeah, it's preachy sometimes, but the direction is sharp, the violence is insane, and the characters actually work. Those are examples of ugly politics, but still excellent products. Then you've got on the other side the stuff that completely torpedoes itself. The Acolyte turning Star Wars into a diversity seminar with lightsabers, one battle after another, trying to turn a gritty revolutionary story into a non-stop lecture on modern identity politics until the whole thing collapsed under its own weight. Same crap we saw in She-Hulk, Rings of Power, and half the recent MCU slop where every other line feels like it was written by a Twitter activist instead of an actual screenwriter. So where does Daredevil Born Again Season 2 fall? Well, I would say right in the middle. And it brings me no pleasure saying this because I think the original Netflix Daredevil series is still truly one of the best superhero TV shows we've ever gotten. It sits right up there with Invincible for me, especially Season 3. That was exceptional in every single sense. The casting was perfect. Nobody could have played Matt Murdock better than Charlie Cox in my opinion. The guy was born to play the role. And the ultimate nemesis dynamic between Matt and Kingpin is one of the coolest rivalries in all of fiction. It wasn't just good guy versus bad guy. It was this deep dark tale of corruption, power, and anarchy that actually meant something. The writing respected the audience, the violence actually felt dangerous, and the show never pulled its punches. Then we got Daredevil Born Again Season 1 last year, which was in some ways surprising. They actually stayed loyal to the tone of the Netflix show. They showed Matt Murdock's Catholic faith, the dark, gritty violence, the blood, all the stuff we never see in the shiny MCU movies. But at the same time, it was a mixed bag. More good than bad in my opinion, but it ended on a pretty underwhelming note. But it did set up a lot of things to be excited about for Season 2. So now Season 2 is here, and the question everybody is discussing.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Nope. No, we're not. And as I explain why, let me provide you with an idea of the synopsis of Season 2 so far. Season 2 picks up a little while after Season 1's finale. Wilson Fisk is fully locked in as mayor of New York, running the city like his own private empire under martial law. He's unleashed the anti-vigilante task force, a heavily armed, militarized squad that's basically ICE with better uniforms and zero restraint, storming neighborhoods, rounding people up, and imposing his version of order. Episode 1 kicks off strong. Daredevil infiltrates the cargo ship Northern Star, which is smuggling military-grade weapons straight to Fisk's people. He tears down the guards, sinks the ship, and sends a clear message that he's not backing down. Meanwhile, Matt and Karen Page, who are suddenly back together after the whole Heather Glenn thing from last season, are living in hiding, quietly building a small resistance with help from journalist B.B. Urich and Matt's old friend Cherry. The action is brutal and feels like classic Netflix Daredevil, but right away you start seeing the political layers being hammered in. The AVTF is portrayed as straight-up fascist stormtroopers. Kingpin is written like a Trump-style strongman trying to deport people, control the streets, and crush any opposition. And what's hilarious is the showrunners were asked point-blank about these obvious parallels, and they deadpan said, quote, "As we got into post-production, things got into an art imitates life place. There's even a scene showing an AVTF arrest where masked anarchists, clearly meant to represent minorities fighting back, start shooting and throwing objects at the task force. The show goes out of its way to paint the law enforcement guys as pure evil white supremacists, while framing the anarchists and criminals causing chaos as the sympathetic heroes. By episode 2 and 3, we see more of the resistance trying to gather evidence and allies, while Fisk tightens the noose. Then there's that painfully on-the-nose store robbery scene where a guy is robbing a bodega. A woman tries to stop him, the all-white AVTF shows up to arrest him, and then the same woman suddenly starts sympathizing with the criminal and blocking the task force. It's so desperate and clumsy, it feels like the writers are screaming their message instead of letting the story breathe. Episode 4 ramps up the action hard. Bullseye goes full aura farming mode in a diner, slaughtering a bunch of AVTF agents with everyday objects like toothpicks and forks in truly one of the most savage sequences the show has ever done. Matt and Bullseye have their long-awaited rematch, and the Matt vs. Poindexter dynamic is genuinely one of the best parts of the season so far. But even with the excellent fight choreography and character dynamics, the feminist politics keep creeping in, unfortunately. Karen Page, who we've almost never seen throw a punch in the entire franchise, suddenly goes full John Wick mode. She takes a guy down, kidnaps him, ties him to a chair, and uses him as leverage like she's been training for years. She practiced for 5 seconds at the beginning of the season, and now she's a lethal operative. Come on, man. So to put it simply, the season has some strong moments in the action, and the Matt Poindexter rivalry is great. But overall, it is not the big leap forward that a lot of people are hyping it up to be. It's still weighed down by this constant need to inject a very specific leftist progressive viewpoint into a show that used to feel raw, honest, and dangerous, and that's exactly the thing that's holding it back from being the killer season it could have been. So yeah, overall, I'm not feeling very optimistic about where this is headed. I don't think it's gonna get much better. We were all told that Marvel was healing, that they finally moved past the whole push the agenda at all cost phase, and we're just going to focus on giving us good content again. But guess what? It sure as hell doesn't look like it from where I'm sitting.